What's going on, guys? And here's here back with another episode of DigiModify, where we talk about anything and everything Digimon related when it comes to either the deck profiles, when it talks about tech choices, when we talk about anything in there and everywhere in between about the Digimon card game. In today's episode, we will be talking about Blue Hybrid. But before we get into that, I want to ask you guys, if you guys are enjoying the podcast itself, make sure to leave a like down below. It really does help us out, as well as leaving a subscribe if you guys do enjoy the content. Make sure to hit the bell notification so you guys can get notified when we do put up an episode every Tuesday and Thursday. We have been trying to do this as often as we can. We have a new episode coming out on Tuesday that is already recorded. I had to re-record this one, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the new episode that we are putting up today. But besides that, we're gonna be talking about Blue Hybrid and the menace of the meta right now for the BT8/EX2 meta. Blue Hybrid has been a menace since BT7 when it first got released, with the Beowulfmon, with the Tommy, Korikakumon, Kumamon, and even the other part of the deck that not a lot of people do play, which is the Magna Garurumon build with the Koji engine and the, why did I complete space on his name? Oh my goodness. The Kendo Garurumon as well. That deck is not really made as often, but the regular Blue Hybrid where they where they utilize the Kumamon, the Korikakumon, the Tommies, the Sora Joe, and the Beowulfmon just to gain advantage throughout the game and control the whole board, has become way too powerful for a lot of people's eyes. And I would say it does make it pretty much the best deck of the format when you can play out of your AKA bricks by just playing down your tamers and getting advantage that way, being able to strip the sources with the Sora Joe, being able to strip 3 sources with the Tommy when it's on played like ability, and pretty much it has a decent matchup pretty much with the entirety of the format. Let's break down from the very beginning, as we're gonna talk about their eggs, the Digitamas or the Digi-Eggs. Kiaromon is so good. Being able to pretty much get free advantage just from playing the game that you're playing right away. When you strip a source from one of the sources of your opponent's Digimon, you're able to draw a card. Really strong for that specific build, because you do it through Tommy and through Sora Joe, and it activates once per turn, but you are always able to get a draw. And the other egg that they run is the Kupamon that when you attack, if your opponent has a Digimon with no sources underneath it, you are able to draw a card. And the way that you're able to stack your attacks, you're always gonna be able to get that effect going either way, because you can just use the Sora Joe to be able to strip the last 2 sources. It just makes it super easy to make it, okay, I will strip the bottom 2. You have no sources now, so technically my Upamon is already triggered, but it hasn't resolved yet. So because it hasn't resolved, you're able to just get free advantage and draw a card, because now I have no sources. Unfortunately, that's the way it works, so that really sucks. Those eggs are pretty much staple at 4 Kiaro, 4 Kiaro, 1 Upamon. And once we talk about the rookies, it makes a lot more sense as well of why this deck is so good, because we start off with Stravimon. The Stravimon from BT4, I believe it is. Yeah, from the BT4, on play, you're able to reveal the top 3 cards, add a hybrid, and add a tamer, a blue tamer. Your whole deck runs blue tamers, period. You run Davis, you run the Sora Joe, you run the Baby Matt, the 2-drop mat from the structure deck, as well as the Tommy. No matter what, you were 99% of the time, not really, this is a really bad statement, but a lot of times you're able to always get 2 from this effect, being that pretty much your whole deck is hybrids, besides probably 4 or 5 cards, depending if you're running the floodgates or not. You're always gonna be able to at least get a tamer or a hybrid to your hand, adding to your card like advantage, being able to add the key the pieces that you need. You also run 3 to 4 of the Pokemon, which was a huge buff for every hybrid deck, where on play you can reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add a hybrid, 10 warriors, a hybrid, or like 10 warriors and 1 tamer. So a lot of times you just play this, get your tamer and your hybrid. Even in for other decks, you're able to get their level 6. For this one, you're not really able to do that because you don't really run the Magna Gurumon. A lot of times you mostly run the like a Sulangmon for a big swing to the security, but for the Pokemon, you're just having that on play, it's already good enough. But having the during your turn, like once a turn effect of when one of your tamers like digivolve, you gain to memory, making the first hybrid that you go to absolutely free is ridiculous, especially with the color blue, where your memory management, it's so good. You have cards like the Story Joe that you gain 2 memory. You have the Baby Matt that you gain 1 memory. You have the Davis that will set you to 3. You're able to use cards like Hammer Spark to gain a memory. If you're playing since you're playing the Howling Memory Loose, you still gain 2 memory as well. So being able to get a free Digivolution, it's absolutely amazing, especially when a lot of times you just start off at 3 memory. You can keep at 3 memory and go to your level 4s. Now that the meta has kind of shifted around a bit, you are running a lot of the floodgates. Blue is the only deck that has both of the floodgates in the meta. We have Siakomon to that during your opponent's turn, your opponent cannot reduce Digivolution costs, so stopping any other hybrid decks from going into their level 5s for just 1 memory makes it really, really well. It's really good against green, and green has risen up to the ranks where now it's on par with every other hybrid deck in the meta besides purple, because purple hybrid hasn't done a lot just yet. But the Siakomon is able to kind of like hold back green at least for just a little bit, even though green has got a lot more of the utility out there. But being able to slow down their Rhino, to slow down the Rhino Calvatariumon is really, really helpful. And they also run the Madoki Betamon. The Madoki Betamon, which is what I think a lot of people think we should not have gotten this in blue. So during all turns, your opponent cannot gain a memory except for tamers. Every other color has either a like the Madoki Betamon in their deck, or has a Siakomon in their deck. They don't have both. If they have both, they have to go like out of their color to be able to add the other one. For purple, they only have the Psychmon, which only stops can only reduce play costs, is not the same as the Siakomon. And they have and they also have the Gazimon, which works as the Madoki Betamon. Yellow doesn't have a Madoki Betamon like effect in their colors, so they have to a lot of times use a Gazimon to add a purple and use a mixed color just to have both of the floodgates in their deck. They do have a Siakomon in the form of Cutemon. I believe black has a Madoki Betamon in the form of Shumon, and red only has Gaomon, I believe. I don't know exactly what his name is, but he does have the reduction cost one, where your opponent cannot reduce the memory cost when you digivolve the Gaussmon, GAOSSmon. But they don't have the the memory blocker. Not every deck has a memory blocker, which is super annoying, especially when the whole meta is right now pretty much using the memory boost to get their plays, to make their future plays a little more like explosive, which does help a lot of decks. So the floodgates being ran at 2 to 3 copies in the blue hybrid deck makes the deck really really well because it doesn't conflict with what you're doing. Because your only real the rookie that you want to ever have is the Pokemon and the Starymon. You don't really care what other rookies you have in the deck because your tamers are essentially your like your rookies as well, using the hybrid mechanic being able to go on top of your tamers. Next, we're talking about the level 4s. The level 4s for the deck is very simply Kumamon and the Korikakumon, only 8. Maybe add, some people have been adding like probably like one extra level 4 in the Kendall Garurumon or in the new Leomon, but like a lot of times it's just those 8, and that's all you need because you recycle them with the Beowulfmon. The Kumamon just helps your whole stripping of the sources. By when you digivolve, you're able to strip one of the source. If you don't have use for your Siako or for your Madoki Betamon, you can always just go like on top for 2 with the Kumamon, strip something, and if you have the Kiramon as a like inheritable, you're able to draw a card, so that's always really good. And the Korikaku, if you go on top of a hybrid or a Tommy, you're able to stun something with no sources, which is amazing. And that strategy has become so much more and that strategy has become so strong in this meta. And since the BT7, that's the whole strategy of being able to freeze your opponent's Digimon has been really really well for the deck's next success. Next, for the level 5, you only really run 4, which is the 4 of the Beowulfmon that can go on top of your level 4s. Pretty much for 1, as long as you have a tamer underneath it, you're able to just go on top of your level 4s for 1. And whenever you attack, you're able to bring back a hybrid in its own source to bounce back a level 4. And the fact that you don't have to, your opponent doesn't have to have a level 4 or below on their side of the field to be able to activate this effect. And the mechanic of the game is pretty much as long as you pay the cost and everything, you do as much as you can for the effect. So being able to recycle your level 4s over and over again to be able to use them again, it's really really stupid. In the level 6 spot, you don't really use a lot. Maybe a Magna Garurumon if you're feeling spicy. Absolutely. Like Hasulongmon is really really good in the deck, being able to pretty much do what you are already doing, stripping the sources of your opponent's like Digimon, but now you get the added benefit of gaining a memory for each of your opponents that has no sources, and gain the security attack +1 for each one that has no sources. That is super strong, being able to clear their like security pretty much in one swing and then just go for hybrid for game is always really good. At times, you play the Susanomon to be able to recycle your tamers and your hybrids so that you do not deck out. I have not found any real need for it. I've played it before. I just haven't had any real need for it whatsoever. Next, we're going to talk about the tamers. The tamers are already really good. Davis, we know what David does. On play, you look at the top 3. Always good. Suro and Joe, whenever a blue Digimon attacks, you're able to strip 2 sources from 1 target, as well as if your opponent at the start of your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon with no sources, you're able to gain 2 memory. Ridiculously strong. Tommy on play, you're able to strip 3 sources, and it does have a inheritable effect that whenever you attack once per turn, you can freeze a Digimon with no sources. That is such a strong effect that Tommy honestly should have gone to either 2 or 1. Such a really really good effect. And the last but not least, you do play the little baby Matt, the 2-drop that does the same effect as the Sora Joe. In quotations, does the same effect, but you only gain 1 memory at the beginning of your turn. You do not get the strip effect. That's one thing you do not get. In your options, you're able to run a few things. Blue gets Hammer Sparks. Hammer Sparks is such a strong card. Being able to gain 1 memory for free, it's great. And Insecurity, being able to gain 2 memory is also really good. We get the limited to 1 Ice Wall. it's a one for a reason. It was being abused to heck in Japan, and the card is just really good, making it so that your opponent can't beat you in that turn unless they have enough of the memory to do so. We do play the Howling we do play the Howling Memory Boost over the Blue Memory Boost. The Howling Memory Boost does what your strategy wants to do, which is strip more of the sources plus free stuff on the board. So that helps you. It does like enable it. It enables your strategy to do what you want to do already. And last but not least, we do have the inclusion of a newer card, Mechanism Blizzard, being able to strip the one of the sources of 3 of your opponent's like Digimon, as well as it gets to freeze up to 3. So that's pretty much doing what you're already doing in the deck, but you're able to pretty much save yourself a turn by freezing 3 of your opponent's stuff. So that's really good. And the deck just runs really well overall. And not a lot of decks can handle it. The deck can play control, the deck can play aggro, the deck can just turtle and not do anything for turn after turn, and your opponent just gets really annoyed because they have a big body on board that they can't swing with because it's frozen from the Tommy effect or from the Holly Memory Boost or from the Korikaku, and you just gain so much advantage in a very short the period of time that the deck, honestly, I believe does need to get nerfed somehow. And from the past few like Ultimate Cups, you guys can see from the results, Blue Hybrid has always, you can always find a Blue Hybrid list in the top 16 of the meta, and if it's not winning, it's getting either getting top 4 or top 8. It will always be up there, and the deck's pretty cheap. The only thing that you really need to pay for is the Davis, which is right now like $20 each from my recollection. So honestly, a really strong deck, a really strong contender to be almost tier 0, because we have gotten to the point where it does take about half of the of the top 16. So we're getting close to tier 0 status, but the deck's not there yet, and we haven't gotten to the point where there is a meta where we have a tier 0 meta. So hopefully we don't get there just yet. The deck, besides Blue Hybrid, that every deck is pretty consistent and pretty good. So I do say maybe limit Tommy. But on that, I want to pass off the question to you. I did want to talk about what the deck consists of and pretty much go over my own thoughts on each card that goes into the deck. But I do want to get your like opinions on what do you guys think of Blue Hybrid. Is Blue Hybrid such a big menace in the coming meta? Do you guys think for BT9 is Blue Hybrid gonna be a thing with X Antibody as an option being not being able to be stripped away? You think that that's gonna hurt Blue Hybrid, or you think the Blue Hybrid will find a way to just outpace every single deck in the format once again? Let me know down below. I want to get you guys like opinion, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Until next time, guys. Bye.